Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to another Paws on Netflix podcast.
And today we're covering the newest Sonic series on Netflix called Sonic Prime.
And as I kept thinking it was on Amazon Prime, yes, I'm sorry.
Yes.
But this series follows Sonic across different dimensions after the calamitous battle with Dr. Eggman. And he discovers that his friends are being scattered to alternate realities, and they have to work with each other to find the fragmented shards.
Yes.
Shai-Con Jewel.
What? Yep. Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get some future podcasts and water pause videos.
Now, before we start, we're going to say, we know the reviews are kind of divided. There's groups of people that really love it, and there's groups of groups of people that think it doesn't feel like Sonic. So we'll tell you what we honestly think. We're not going to badmouth it because we love Sonic and we're really happy that someone somewhere decided to give us another Sonic series.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you, for me, first episode, the first thing I said to Rascal was, this doesn't feel like Sonic. This particular version of him doesn't feel like Sonic.
Right.
I want to point out another thing. It has nothing to do with the voice actors. Absolutely nothing.
Right.
It's the way that he behaves and he's written that it doesn't feel like the Sonic that I'm used to seeing.
Right. And we've seen that done before with Sonic Frontiers, where they introduced entirely new villains and they were challenging his ideals and concepts, which still are not bad ideas to do for storylines and games and shows. It's just that the decision to make him a little more reckless in here was off. Yeah, he can be reckless anyway. That's not different. It just seems like for this particular version, Sonic was a lot more vulnerable. He was easily ticked off. He didn't listen. He was... And
he runs once per episode.
Yeah. Which I guess people didn't mind since it was exactly like the games, but don't you want to run a while when you're in the game? So go figure. And I saw some comments say this when it was first out. And they said they're not really sure how to take him being more... I guess they want to make more like a kid, which is... Well, really what the movie already did. They want to make him more where there's consequences to his actions and he has to learn from them, which they kind of already. And for the defense, they say that his personality is based off Sonic X. People just forgot that he's already acted like this.
Okay, we watched Sonic X, all 3 seasons, and the Sonic that I saw and that you saw in Sonic X is nothing like the Sonic in this one. I'm sorry. If you feel the same way, my apologies, but to me and to Rascal, this Sonic is totally different from the Sonic X one. He was mischievous. He had the smart comeback lines.
Yes, and
he ran a lot. He ran a whole lot.
Right.
And he did a lot of saving people.
Right, and in here, the weird thing is that Eggman's the one that's on Sonic, and Sonic's the one that gets irritated and lashes out, and then here comes the accident, which is really bizarre because it's usually the other way around. But in here, they've reversed it, so now Sonic's the one getting hassled all the time, which was very strange to see. It's like, usually don't take that. Usually he just says stuff to Eggman and it pisses him off. Seeing him get it was like, oh, why?
Now, if you haven't seen it, this core has 8 episodes.
Yes.
And we told there's going to be a second set coming out sometime this year.
Yes.
The voice actors are not any of the voice actors we associated with doing Sonic franchises, whether it's in games or in animated series.
Right.
There's a whole new cast. And I want to say the cast is fantastic.
Yes.
All the voice acting is stellar. At first we were kind of like, well, it's going to be really different because it's not being done by people we know or associate with the franchise. But they did a fantastic job choosing every voice actor. Everyone's fantastic.
Yeah.
You don't feel like anything's missing. You're just enjoying hearing the voice actors and hearing the characters. They're spot on. They get an A++++ for the voice casting. Absolutely.
Yeah. Even when they're in the alternate realities, they still pull out playing different versions of their own characters. So well done to them.
Now, I want to point out that I have said for so many times, why didn't they make Tails a 9-tail? Because that's what he is. And then we see him, and Rascal says, "You got it! You got your wish! He's a 9-tail!"
Yeah. So like I think that's people's favorite version of Tails. And we have seen there's a lot of, like, they have their favorites of their different versions of the characters. And it looks like they have the favorites. Ninetales is the favorite Tails. They like Pirate Knuckles.
I do too.
And they like, I think they like Rusty Rose. Is a cross between, they like either Rusty Rose or where she's Princess Mononoke. So it seems like out of the 3 universes that they've gone to, they have been well received and people like these different takes on the characters. And I guess the idea is, what if they were acted completely different, like Sonic, from the versions you saw? What if Tails didn't want to work with others and he was alone, he didn't like being around people? What if Knuckles was more laid back and chill and fun instead of being angry and want to beat up everybody? What if Amy wasn't sweet and kind and she was more defensive and aggressive? Rouge kind of acts the same in all dimensions, so it's the same. Except she doesn't steal, I guess. She doesn't steal in any of these versions.
Right. But I do like, at first it was a little jarring, but after the second time he went to another reality, then we got used to it.
Right.
And I have to say, you kept saying the pirate's the favorite, the pirate's the favorite. And then after we saw the pirate episode, I'm like, okay, I can see why the pirate's the favorite. It really is the most fun reality in terms of what transpires. Sonic runs more in that reality than any other reality.
And I'm on water on top of it.
And as you said, you got to see a different side or a different version of Knuckles. And at first you think he's going to abandon them, but he doesn't. He comes back, but there's still something sinister underneath because he's, he says under his voice he didn't come back for the team. He came back for something else. And then you're thinking, well, maybe it's just the Shikon Jewel, that's what I'm going to call it. But it's got to be something even more deeper than that, more important than that.
Right.
Amy, I personally don't like any of the versions of her in here, except for the one where they start out where he's in his regular reality.
Okay.
I didn't like any of the other versions of her. I don't dislike them, people. I just didn't care for the other.
There was no favorite. There was no favorite.
Right. Rouge was okay in all of them. To me, Rouge was the same.
Yeah, because the characteristic that she's known for is stealing jewels, but they had to change her character from the anime and other stuff because they're for kids and they couldn't go with the Catwoman thing anymore because that would be considered offensive to some viewers. So they toned her down. She doesn't steal. She's kind of like the second girl in the group. She has a tracksuit on instead of her usual outfit from the games, and she's a little more, she thinks a little more on her feet like Tails. So they kind of had 2 brainiac ones in their team. She's more tactical and he thinks on technical level. So that's the change they did to her. So that's kind of why there was an opportunity to change her altogether because she's already been updated.
Right. And I think that in this version, I like Rouge better, which is really a surprise.
Yeah.
I like her better than the different versions of Amy, but I like Amy in the regular reality.
Right. Go figure.
Right. And then, as we mentioned, which one we like best for Tails.
Right.
Sonic, again, just doesn't feel like Sonic in any reality that he's in. I would say the closest he came to was actually the pirate one.
Right, because he got to be himself in that reality. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the whole point, if for the ones that are okay with him being like this, is that like Frontiers, there's like challenging different parts of his personality, like where they try to go more in depth. For the game, it's like he never quits. So what if they just gave him a time limit, like how far will he go before he actually does quit in the game? Well, for here, it's more of him being more appreciative of his friends. Like, yeah, he's friends with them, but there are times where he really doesn't appreciate them. Like, the memories they share, their friendship, them being a team. He doesn't really listen all the time. He does his own thing, and it messes things up, and they don't like that he's not listening to what they're saying in order to help. And that seems to be a theme where he's learning that he really does need his friends. He does care about them. He should have been more appreciative of them more, which was already in there, but I guess for this one they decided to take it away so he can learn it and you can see him develop.
Animation's fantastic.
Yes, and it looked great from the trailer. It was very fluid, very bouncy, real colorful. It doesn't look like they went cheap in terms of making everything look alive.
No, they saved cheapness for the intro.
Right.
There's no intro.
And
Where the heck is that intro? How do you have a Sonic series without an intro
Right.
and an outro? How?
Right! And I couldn't believe that. First thing, well, maybe it's just the first episode because it's like sometimes like anime, they don't show an intro to the end or the next episode. Well, we watched the whole thing and it's just, boom. You might as well just have the Netflix logo twice. Like, you couldn't even have them run through the Netflix logo or something. Like, have him run through different realities and shards and then it goes straight through the word prime. Like, you see him constantly running through reality. Like, there's so many ways you could have made a creative intro and they just kind of like, no, we're done.
And that is one of the most disappointing things about it. There's no cool song, there's no nice intro, there's nothing memorable about starting the series. They don't even get you hyped up for watching. You have a little bit of like a
preview clip or something?
Yeah, a preview clip at the beginning, then it goes into the stupid boom, and then it goes into the series. Well, you want that Sonic intro where you can hear the song and get revved up and ready and excited. It's not here.
Yeah.
And that's another reason that it doesn't feel like Sonic.
Right. That's the thing with a lot of the shows we've seen, especially the anime one, is that when you hear the song, usually the songs make you want to run. Sonic songs, majority of the time in the games, the movie, the shows, whatever, they make you want to run. You feel excited. You feel energized. You could go for exercise and just listen to a Sonic soundtrack and you feel excited listening to it. Here, there isn't a soundtrack. It's just some regular music, background, danger. They don't really have their own sound until it gets to the end credits and you hear a little bit of the video game going do-do-do-do, and that's pretty much it. They don't really go that far.
So, hopefully, during the second core, hopefully they will change it and maybe make an intro. I hope so.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that I personally was not very pleased with is my shadow is barely in here.
Right.
For those of you who are okay with that, good for you.
Right.
But I want to see my shadow more. And all here is going, Sonic.
They're like, okay, Soleil, what the heck are you doing?
And that's it. He doesn't even appear in any of the other realities.
Which is
and
odd.
People are saying, well, they're saving him for 2. I don't want to save him for 2. I wanted him to be in here.
Right.
At least maybe in one reality if they weren't going to have him in the whole core.
Right.
Maybe just in one. But
and
he got robbed.
And that's what we were thinking. The strange thing about this is that there's not another version of Sonic in any other timeline he went to. We've seen different realities kind of cross over and then react, but there's no Sonic in the New York, the pirate, or the forest one. There is no Sonic in any of these realities, so I'm beginning to think that the title Sonic Prime means he's like a Tigger. He's the only Sonic in existence in every reality. He's the only one of his kind. For Shadow, same thing. He doesn't appear in any version either. And the thing they keep building up with Shadow is that they're gonna have a fight. He and Sonic gonna have a fight. They tried in the beginning, and he ran off before they finished. Because it seems to be a running joke that Sonic gets hurt constantly every single episode. He gets hit by a bus, hit by Knuckles, hit by Shadow, run over by a car, hit by a robot. It's like, okay, does someone have something against Sonic, or is this supposed to be funny? He keeps getting hurt all the time, and it's kind of like people have not made a running joke where Sonic is just in a body cast by the end, and he can't run anymore.
And again, it's uncharacteristic of the character. So maybe we'll see something different in the second core. I'm really hoping so. And again, please Netflix, make a freaking intro for the second core.
Right.
Don't just have the.
If you're worried about spoilers, well, 8 episodes
if you're worried about spending money, you spend all that money in the animation, you might as well make a decent intro.
Right.
So if you've seen Sonic Prime, let us know what you think in the comments below. Have you played the game? Do you think it matches up? Do you think it's true to it? Do you believe it's true to Sonic X, the series? We don't, but tell us what you think.
Right.
If you haven't seen it, of course, it's exclusively on Netflix, not Amazon Prime.
Right.
Although you would think that when you hear Sonic Prime. And check it out, let us know what you think, and come back and tell us, do you agree or disagree?
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos on your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
And lastly, do you wish they had an intro as well.
Right.
If so, let us know in the comments.
Right. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mama Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man. Who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams. She was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops.